From listeners supporting KTOO, welcome to Juneau Afternoon, broadcasting live from the homelands of the Occoquan and on demand as a podcast. It's Friday, May 16th, 2025. I'm your host, Boston Christopher. Gwyneth Cheese, Hawa, Tuxik Newsome. Salamat, thank you for joining the conversation. You can also join us behind the scenes for a sneak peek in the studio on our live stream on YouTube at ktoo.org/jpmlive or on KTOO's Facebook and Instagram pages. Today, TrollFest is coming to Juneau. It's billed as a psychedelic multimedia celebration of the art and music of well-known Alaskan fish artist Ray Troll. We have a preview with the Heists. We look forward to the final weekend of performances and artists from the Juneau Jazz Classics weekend of shows. Alaska Robotics Mini-Con is on. It's happening tomorrow at the State Museum. We chat with some of the featured guests. And Artemis Sportswomen are kicking off their summer activities. We have a look at what's in store. Those conversations are coming up this hour on Juneau Afternoon. Support for Juneau Afternoon comes from Alaska Airlines Club 49. Membership information available at club49hub.com.
Support for Juneau Afternoon comes from Heritage Coffee Roasting Company, providing Juneau with locally roasted coffee for over 40 years, with cafes and drive-through locations throughout Juneau. More at heritagecoffee.com.
Please let me in. This world's starting to spin. If I turn it upside down, could you bring me home again? There's a note on the table, broken glass on the floor. I don't know if I'm able to remember what it felt like to love you, because you don't exist anymore. Please let me in. This world's starting to spin. If I turn it upside down, could you bring me home again? There's the ghost of September. I was so glad you were gone, and I doubt if I'll ever return to the person I once was the moment you walked in that door. Please let me in. This world's starting to spin. If I turn it upside down, could you bring me home again? If I turn it upside down, could you bring me home again?
Yes, that's so good. That is the Heist. They're going to come over to the other microphones as we get started here on Juneau Afternoon. You're listening to community supported KTOO at 104.3 Juneau, 91.7 Juneau Ock Bay, and online at ktoo.org. You can also join us in the studio on our live stream behind the scenes on KTOO's YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Wild, wild times programs in the future as we move forward. That is the Heist. They are one of 3 Alaskan Troll family bands, as it's billed, that will be playing next Saturday night, May 24th, as part of TrollFest, a psychedelic multimedia celebration of the art and music of Ray Troll. It will also include Whiskey Class and, of course, Ray Troll and the Ratfish Wranglers. Welcome, Gwyneth Chish Wasiiti. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Erin.
Hi, thank you.
And Andrew, welcome. Gwyneth Chish.
Hello.
And so let's get the connection first of why are you an Alaskan Ray Troll band?
Well, I am a troll. So the Troll family, my mom is Kate Troll, sister to Ray Troll.
Okay.
And out of the 8 Troll siblings, 4 of them came to Alaska and made their homes in Alaska. And so Ray and his family, Ray moved up to Ketchikan shortly after I was born. And then my family moved to Juneau. Ray's family stayed in Ketchikan. And then my Uncle Tim and his family and my Aunt Mimi have been up in Anchorage. But, Ray, when he moved to Ketchikan, he moved to help my parents who had just had a baby. And they had a little shack on the docks where they sold fish.
Oh, wow.
And so they needed a hand, and Ray had just, I think, gotten out of grad school and didn't have a job. And so he came up for the summer to help them sling fish and became obsessed with fish and did his first T-shirt for the Hallelujah Halibut Seafood Shack.
And you're both representing today.
We
For
are.
those who are on the stream, you can see Erin has the Fish Worship shirt on, and Andrew has the Spawn Until You Die shirt
That's
on.
the iconic Ray Troll, Spawn Till You Die.
Yeah,
Yes.
Spawn Until You Die, absolutely. So for the 1 or 2 people in Southeast who don't know who Ray Troll is, he's well known for his fish designs and T-shirts, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ray, I admire Ray so much. He's been a working artist his whole life and one of the hardest working artists I've ever met. A lot of how people know him is through his fish puns and his T-shirt line. So the T-shirts that we're wearing are part of that. But he also, is really in the scientific illustration world. He's partnered with a longtime collaborator, Kirk Johnson, who's a paleobotanist, and together they've done amazing museum exhibits that have toured around the world. So Ray is really a recognized expert in a lot of different arenas, but somebody who can really sort of bridge the gap between science and art and has just an insane, goofy, sort of gonzo passion for it.
And I think Ray is internally grateful for all the support through the T-shirts, but he also wants people to know that he's more than just a T-shirt guy.
He's also a musician.
And he's also a musician,
And,
yeah.
and that's something that he's been doing. He's had a couple different bands or names of the band, but now the Ratfish Wranglers seems to have stuck.
Yes.
And has been that way for a while. They have a couple albums.
They do. And he's had, the Russell Wodehouse and Shauna... What's that?
Lee, right?
Shauna Lee have been his really longtime collaborators in that band. Russell co-writes the majority of the songs.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be their last show.
What?
Yeah. That's the big scoop.
This is the big finale.
See,
This is
I
the big
didn't realize
finale.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to ask the question of where did this
Yeah.
idea come from? But this is sort of a celebration of the last of this band. Then.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it came from... I went to Ock Rock, which was amazing, and got to see sort of all the updates that Centennial Hall had made, and it just got my wheels spinning. And, Ray and Patrick and I have always sort of loosely thought about how fun it would be if we could all do a gig together. And Patrick is Ray's son, whose band is Whiskey Class.
Okay.
And then when I saw just the new capability of Centennial Hall as far as the video support and lighting opportunities, it just got my wheels spinning because, Ray's music is really tied closely to his art. And so the chance to really have a venue where Ray's visuals could be fully incorporated into all the musical experience is what got me excited. And so pitched the idea, got support. So KTOO is doing full video production for it. So we're going to have live video of the event happening within the space. It's going to be recorded for later broadcasts, which is really exciting. And so getting KTOO on board to work with us and help sponsor the event, and then have a couple other organizations in town help sponsor the event, just kind of started to make it all possible. And so we brought in a projectionist and a projectionist assistant from California, Greg Mitchell, who's amazing. He's done work in town. If people saw the Princess Sophia opera, he did all the projections for that. So he's like animating Ray's art in new, interesting ways. Every song is going to have different visuals that are incorporated with it. We're bringing in Mike Inwood, who's been a really amazing lighting designer here in town for wearable art. He's doing lighting design. Like I said, we have KTOO partners. Of Ray's blown up to it is going to be an insane
So this isn't
event.
just like a concert. This is a psychedelic multimedia.
This is an art
presentation.
experience.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Also, I just want to point out Erin's. This is what Erin does when she wants to do a little gig.
She says, Andrew, I have this idea. What do you think? And then you get Taylor Dallas-Vidic roped in to helping you.
Yeah.
And here's where we end up. And it's TrollFest, which is happening May 24th. That's next Saturday night. It's from 6 to 11 at Centennial Hall. And I did want to mention this, too. Full disclosure, KTO is a major sponsor of TrollFest, but this interview isn't part of that sponsorship agreement. I just want to put that out there. But we would have you on anyway, even if KTO wasn't sponsoring, because what a great idea. What a cool thing to have happen. And like you said, Patrick is part of Whiskey Class, which is a band out of Seattle, but also has Liz Snyder in it, who was just here for Folk Fest. And
Alex Nelson, who's also from Juneau.
And Alex Nelson, that's right. Yeah, so there's some Juneau roots there in Whiskey Class. And so they'll be here, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I would just say if people saw them during Folk Fest, they know how amazing Whiskey Class is. And I just cannot wait to see them on a larger stage with full video and lighting support. Patrick is an amazing filmmaker. He's actually filming a full-length documentary about Ray and his art right now. So we're going to be incorporating visuals into every act and getting to see those guys. They are one of my favorite bands. They are just unreal. Liz's voice.
Yeah, I love Liz's voice. She came in here and just did a couple tunes by herself.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It was amazing. I'm sad that I'm How do people get more information?
Be trollfestalaska.com. So that's Alaska all the way spelled out. Tickets are on sale through the Jack. So you can also just go to the Jack's ticketing website, the Juneau Arts and Humanities Council ticketing website, and find the tickets. Since we're one of the next events up, we'll be right at the top of the page. And there's a link to the TrollFest website from there. We're also, we have a Facebook event that's got more details. And, we've been doing partnerships. So, we have a couple other sponsors who have really helped us out. So Alaskan Brewing, Alaska Seaplanes, and KTOO. I'm trying to think. I think we have another co-host sponsor. I'll think of them. But we're also doing partnerships with businesses around town. So Devil's Club had us for a pizza night. We're going to be doing some other things with some other businesses. So this week you're going to hear a lot about TrollFest, and it's because we just really don't want you to miss it. We're only doing it once. This is we're never ever doing this again, and we're going all out on it.
I wanted to point that out. I heard somebody say, "Oh, I'm going to be out of town, but I'll go next year," and it's like,
there's no next year.
There is no next year.
This isn't an annual event.
I mean, with all the work that went in, it would be amazing if it was. But no, this is a one-time experience. So, please join us. It's going to be unforgettable.
And I will say, the Heist, we have a full band with us for TrollFest. So we just gave you a duo version tonight, but we're really excited to have friends performing with us.
And what was the name of that song?
That was called Please Let Me In, and it's one of the most recent songs. We co-wrote it last fall on a trip down in Louisiana.
Nice. And that is going to be possibly one of the cuts on the album that you're working on that we're all patiently waiting for.
Yeah, I think that is in the works. But that's one of the things that's really making sort of TrollFest, the timing really perfect, is that all three bands are going to be performing original music the whole night. And
that's
so
gonna be so fun.
all of the music that you're going to hear is intimately tied to Alaska and Alaskans. And I can't wait for people to get to experience it.
Yeah, this is, like Andrew said and Erin mentioned as well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're going to get to see three bands, all part of the Alaskan Troll family bands. It's like a what are they? A franchise. It's like a franchise. Yeah. It's the Heists, Andrew and Erin, Whiskey Class, including some Juneau folks who are in that band, and then Ray Troll and the Ratfish Wranglers, listed as psychedelic fish rock, which I love that. And it sounds like there's going to be visuals and these blow-up versions of things. Like the Centennial Hall is going to be transformed.
It's going to be trollified.
It's going to be trollified. I love that.
Yeah,
that's
we were tossing around the name Trollapalooza for a while. That's what you're going to get. But we really hope people come out wearing their favorite Ray Troll T-shirts. There's a bunch of members of the Troll family who are coming to town. My Uncle Tim's got paintings over at Spice. We're really excited. It's going to be a blast.
That's cool. And you can find out more at trollfestalaska.com. It's next Saturday night, May 24th from 6 to 11 at Centennial Hall. And where can we follow you all, the Heist? Do you have your own Instagram?
We have our own Instagram, and we're on Facebook now. So, yeah, it's the
Heists?
underscore heists.
The underscore heists.
Like multiple bank robberies.
Absolutely. Well, Gwyneth Cheese for coming in today.
Thank
and
you
I figured
so much.
we would play a little bit of Ray Troll here as we go to break. And this, of course, is in honor of the shirt that you're wearing. This is called Fish Worship, Ray Troll and the Ratfish Wranglers. This is Juneau Afternoon on KTOO.
The other day, quite kind of guy, didn't have much to say. Then that guy, he looked me straight in the eye, and I noticed that guy, he started to cry, and he said, every day all I can think of is fish. Every day it's my dying wish. I've been fishing so long, it's gone to my head. I love them so much, yet I kill them instead. And I said, fish worship,
gonna set you free.
fish worship,
Get you down on your knees, yeah.
fish worship.
That's what worries me.
Is it wrong?
No, it ain't wrong.
Is it wrong?
No, it ain't wrong.
Is it wrong?
No, it ain't wrong.
It ain't wrong. Seen us and trollers and gill netters too. Long liners and people just like you. Those fly fishermen that catch and release, those crazy biologists, we're all in love with that beach now. It's slime was a crime.
I've done my time.
I said it's slime was a crime.
I've done my time.
Yes, slime was a crime. I've done my time. We're all obsessed. And it's blowing my mind, it's so strange. Eat what you love, I pray for guidance from someone above. And I said, please worship,
Gonna set you free.
please worship.
Get you down on your knees,
Come on down to the river, you shall receive. Remember, my children, to never spare that rod. Yeah, searching for that one true God we all shall find.
Support from Hanson Gress, seeking curious people who like technology, network engineering, and customer support. Opportunities for those who thrive on problem solving. Details at hansongress.com/careers.
This is Juneau Afternoon from your listener-supported public media station, KTOO. I'm your host, Boston Christopher. It's the final weekend of the Spring Festival of Concerts from Juneau Jazz and Classics. And the Spring Festival final concerts are Jazz and Jive with the Christian Fabian Trio. That's tonight at the Crystal Saloon at 7 and 9 p.m., and the finale tomorrow night with the Lionel Hampton Big Band. That's on Saturday, May 17th at 7 p.m. at Elizabeth Peratrovich Hall. You can get all the information over at jazzandclassics.org. And I am blessed to have in the studio here 3 members of the Lionel Hampton Big Band. Gwyneth Cheese, Hayadi, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you all in the studio today. Wasiati, how are you all? Let me start over here. Can you introduce yourself and tell me what instrument you play in the Lionel Hampton Big Band?
How's it going? I'm Alex June. I'm the trombonist.
Trombonist.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks.
And you, sir?
My name is Aníbal Martinez, and I play trumpet.
Trumpet, okay. And over here?
I'm Joe Doubleday, and I play the vibraphone.
The vibraphone. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. I want to find out what the vibraphone is. I think I know, but I don't really know. But that's kind of cool. Well, Gwyneth Cheese again for being here. It's a pleasure to have you all. Is this all your first time to Juneau?
I was here many a year ago. I used to work on the cruise ships.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I did the Vancouver, Alaska run for like 3 months in the summer of 19. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And how long have you all been with the Lionel Hampton Big Band? You, Alex. How long have you been?
How long? I like to think that I was the last one hired by Lionel Hampton. I'm not just some sort of added-on person. It's kind of that cliche thing is like you get discovered by the big jazz great. But that's what actually happened. I was playing at a club, and Lionel Hampton came to watch our gig, and he saw me play, and it was like, oh, I think that would be a good choice. And I'm glad he picked me. And that was way back in 2001.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When Hamp was still alive. It was kind of weird because he ended up passing away 2003.
I think 2003,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just logistically, I got kind of lost in the mix. I just kind of stopped playing in the band. But suddenly, Lionel passed away in 2003, and then I think they started a revival thing, they call it a ghost band, where like the memory of his name continues, and they were using the heir to the throne, Jason Marsalis, which is he was a great part of the Marsalis family.
Right.
You know, they started with a 10-piece, right? Like a smaller group than the larger ensemble big band. So I still wasn't part of that, but eventually they remembered me, and I got back in there. That's 2015. I don't know.
Was it? That's where they started? Yeah.
I can't.
So you've been back in for a while now.
Yeah. We've been doing annual concerts at the
Soulpack.
Soulpack South Orange
Orange,
Performing Arts Center in South Orange, New Jersey. We do the annual Lionel Hampton Festival. The school University of Idaho has a school in Lionel Hampton's name. I can't remember why. It just is.
That's cool.
And he's the festival back in the day. It was huge. They would have like the greatest names, alumni of the band being featured in these concerts, and backstage was just incredible. Just artist after artist that I remember waiting to get picked up at the hotel, and I was sitting next to Ray Charles's saxophone player, Fathead Newman. I was like, oh jeez, so what are you doing here?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like it was pretty magical, and just it was.
Great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was just it's a once a year special thing.
Yeah, well, it's so great to have you here. What about you, Hannibal? How long have you been in the band?
Oh, wow. Well, I came in the band a little before Alex.
Yeah.
I started, I think, probably 1996,
Whoa.
1997. I was in my 20s. Anyway, but, it was, I did the first gig, I remember, in a winery in Long Island, and then I just stayed in the band.
That's great.
And I've been there since, and it's just an awesome experience.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's not a constant all year round kind of tour, but it gets together a couple times a year, and so it's really great that we're able to have this experience here in Juneau for the Jazz and Classics. And Joe, what about you? How long have you been in the band?
So much less time. So when Lionel Hampton passed away, I was 13.
Right.
I think my first gig with the band was probably 2018, something like that, at the Lionel Hampton Jazz Festival. The year before that, I did a concert there with a clarinetist named Felix Pikely, and we were playing music from one of our records that we did, which was a tribute to Benny Goodman and Lionel Hampton. And the Lionel Hampton Big Band was also performing, and I guess they liked what they saw and asked me to play with them.
That's so cool. And what's it like for someone, a youngster like you, I guess, in terms of being in the band, like to maybe have idolized Lionel Hampton or knew about him, but then to be able to be in this, in essence, like almost a tribute band, right? Like to be able to say, hey, I'm able to play the music and play other music and really in honor of this legend. What's that like for you?
It's surreal.
Yeah.
I started listening to Lionel Hampton probably around the time he passed. I got the Art Tatum, Buddy Rich, Lionel Hampton records. And that really sort of inspired me to get into playing the vibraphone more seriously. So when I'm in this situation, it's surreal and also nerve-wracking knowing that all these guys played with the great, and then I have some big shoes to fill, basically.
Do you feel like Hannibal, do you like take Joe under your wing a little bit and sort of teach him the ropes or keep him in line, or?
No, he's a great cat, man. He's but we all take care of each other. We're like a family.
Yeah.
So we do we
argue.
We do argue. Yes.
How many people in the band total?
For tomorrow's concert's only 10.
10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small big band, but it's usually what
15.
50,
or 17 pieces.
15, 17 pieces. Yeah.
And what's on the docket for tomorrow? What's the program for tomorrow? What are we going to be hearing?
Do you remember the?
I forgot to do my homework.
You guys are gonna improvise.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of Lionel Hampton classics.
Okay.
That have.
Flying Home,
Yeah,
has
that
Boogie Woogie.
Right. Okay.
I mean, those are like
the classics.
A couple of his hits.
Yeah.
A couple of his hits. Yes.
What a great way for, I have Rachel Disney's in here as well, who works at Jazz and Classics, and what a wonderful way to sort of cap the final 3 weeks that we've had of the Jazz Festival, right?
Yeah, I'm super excited because we're going to have a dance floor. We're going to have a dance lesson right before the concert
Okay,
for
good.
all ticket holders. It's free for ticket holders. So come at 6, buy a ticket if you haven't already, get a dance lesson, and then jam out and dance to the music. I'm super, super excited about it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be really fun. It sounds like it's going to be a great way to cap off the festival. And I love that. Well, Alex has been here before, but this for you two gentlemen, your first time to Juneau.
First time, yes.
And hopefully you get a little bit of time to see some of the sights and it doesn't rain on you too hard. And get some of the good food that we have here in Juneau. Do you like fish?
I'm not a fish person, but I know that here I get the real stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sending him to the
I don't
sandbar.
mind.
Oh, the sandbar.
There you go.
The sandbar, yeah. Talk to me about that halibut and chips. It's some of the best you're going to have, for sure. The
that's gonna be
sandbar
great,
is
then.
awesome. Well, it's the Lionel Hampton Big Band. It's tomorrow. It's capping off the Juneau Jazz and Classics Spring Festival. What a great one it was. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Elizabeth Peratrovich Hall. You can get more information at jazzandclassics.org. And, of course, if you want to get to the dance lesson, you show up at 6 o'clock so that you're ready to give a little dance to the Woogie Boogie, right?
There you go. That's right. That's right.
I love that. Well, Gonna-Cheese for coming in. I really appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having us.
Absolutely. We really appreciate it. Okay, this is Juneau Afternoon on KTOO. This is a little whiskey class, part of TrollFest, next Saturday night, May 24th.
It's funny you ask how I'm doing. Well, I'm doing just fine, baby, without you. It's funny you ask how I'm doing. Well, I'm doing just fine, baby, without you. I don't wanna talk, but I want you to listen. I've been trying hard to pretend I ain't been missing you. Missing you. I'm outside, I'm inside. Baby, I'm all around. And I've been trying hard to pretend I'm staying on the ground. Staying on the ground. Sleeping on the beach to escape how I feel. Please wake me up, 'cause this can't be real. This can't be real. Thinking I've been fine and it's all been a lie. Forever sleepless nights without you by my side. 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 Forever sleepless nights without you by my side.
That's a little whiskey class on a Friday afternoon from Juneau Afternoon. They are going to be part of TrollFest next Saturday night, May 24th. You can get more information at trollfestalaska.com. But happening tomorrow here right in Juneau is Alaska Robotics Mini-Con. It's tomorrow from 10 to 5 p.m. at the Alaska State Museum. There's a special kickoff event tonight at Mendenhall Library. With presentations and book signing, it's the Comics Mini-Con built for Juneau with guests coming from all around and beyond. The list of presenters is I was trying to figure this out, the best way to say this, because it goes so beyond comics. But I was trying to say it's a literary visual arts dream, and that the Mini-Con covers pop and contemporary arts, games, music, and more. And joining me today are two of the guests at this year's Mini-Con. I have Raina Telgemeier, #1 New York Times bestselling author who writes graphic novels and also is the co-creator of the Cartoonists Club. Gwyneth Chi, Shwasa'iyati. Raina, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for joining us. And I also have Lucy Knisley, who is a best-selling author and artist of numerous graphic novels about food, family, cats, and babies. That's your bio.
That's my bio.
That's the bio, which I love. But Gwyneth Chi, Shwasa'iyati, how are you, Lucy?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so my first question is, how do you two I know one of you is from San Francisco and the other is from Illinois. Is that right? So how do you find out about something like a Mini-Con here in our little town of Juneau and decide to be part of it? Raina.
You have like a really amazing advocate who lives in town. You have a couple, and that's Pat Race, who runs the show. He's the owner of Alaska Robotics Gallery downtown. So it's a comic book store. It's a game store. They host events. They bring a bunch of artists in every year in April and May, what they're doing right now, and then they send us all out to schools. And Pat also travels, and so I met him in Seattle. And I don't know if you met Pat before or if you met him here in Juneau or if...
I think it's just because I've known Raina for like 20 years at this point.
Yes, actually, that's true.
And, we have this community of artists, community of comic book people, and we talk about these events that we go to. And usually it's these big conventions where it's very busy and you're working at a table or you're running from panel to panel. And I kept hearing about this amazing experience of coming to Juneau and doing this really intimate, lovely, community-based comics convention, and how wonderful it was to really celebrate the art instead of just sort of running from a games thing to a movie thing to a show thing and sort of being immersed in this overloaded, kind of bloated, big convention. I kept hearing about this really great, intimate celebration of the arts in Juneau, and I always really wanted to be a part of it. So last year was my first year, and I probably heard about it because Raina had gone before and other friends of mine in the industry had gone before, and I always really wanted to come.
That is so cool. Well, welcome to you both. It's really nice. So, Raina, I have a picture here that I'm going to share with folks. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. That you have a Smile, Sisters, and Guts, tell us about that series, Smile, Sisters, and Guts.
Sure. It didn't occur to me in the beginning that it would be a series. Smile was just a memoir. It was about my childhood dental trauma. Okay. I had a bad dental accident when I was a kid, and that meant dealing with like braces and surgery and headgear and all sorts of stuff. So I wrote about that, and kids dug it. And they were like, we want more. So I wrote a book about my relationship with my sister. And they said, we want more. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll write a book about my childhood anxiety and my stomach aches. Like I just kind of keep digging deeper and deeper into the well of my past experiences, putting them out in graphic novel form, and more people going, we want more. And that's an interesting career.
Yeah, I bet.
Didn't know that's how it was all going to go down, but it's been super rewarding, just the connections I've been able to make with kids, with my readers.
Yeah, and you also have the Babysitters Club series, right? Tell me a little bit about that one.
That is based on Anne M. Martin's classic series from the 80s and 90s that I was a fan of as a child. And so I adapted a few of those books into graphic novel format. That was actually my first job. So
wow.
This started 20 years ago. And that was what led to me publishing the other books. But the Babysitters Club continues to be really popular. Now there's like a Netflix show.
Yeah,
and so
there is. Yeah.
There are other artists now that do the adaptations. And I just kind of get to enjoy it.
And how did you first get started in this kind of work in terms of drawing and cartooning and writing these sort of novels like this?
Well, I was an artist as a kid. I started making comics when I was about 9 and just wanted to learn everything about them and make them and go to school to learn about them. And interestingly, I read a book when I was 16 called Understanding Comics by a guy named Scott McCloud. and he is the co-creator of my most recent book, The Cartoonists Club.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, let me just reach back in time and make the perfect book for my 16-year-old self, which is like Scott McCloud's book, Understanding Comics, which is a comic book about comic books.
Interesting.
It gets really meta, but now we've made something sort of like that, but suitable for kids.
I love that. That's so cool. And Lucy, how did you get started in this kind of work? I'm pulling up something from your website. I see pictures of Ride Beside Me and Whoa.
Those are my two most recent. It's a picture book and a collection of comics about my elderly cat and her foibles. I started out much like Raina. When I was a kid, I would take pieces of copier paper, fold them in half, staple them, turn that into little mini comics that I would draw, mostly about cats. And now I'm a professional working artist, and I'm still making comics about cats. And I've been drawing from my life, much like Raina did, to tell these stories that create an intimate experience between me and the reader. And so I have middle grade series, Stepping Stones, Apple Crush, and then the third book in the series, Sugar Shack, is coming out this summer.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
so that's
cool.
based on my experiences as a kid and living in a blended family with step siblings.
Okay, I love that. Well, the work is so great. And so this Mini-Con is happening tomorrow. It's from 10 to 5. It's right next door here at the Alaska State Museum. I know, like Raina said, there's some school stuff going on today, artists getting out, talking to kids at the classes. And then there's a kickoff event tonight at the Mendenhall Library. And what time does that start, y'all?
I believe it starts at 6.
6 o'clock at the Mendenhall Library. So, and that's just, it's more informal. It's just going to be, you're all going to be out there just hanging out, and people can come and meet and talk. And then tomorrow there'll be like booths. Everybody has a booth. And then are you all doing workshops?
I think
or
I am
panels
on
or
panels.
something?
I think I'm doing panels, and you're doing a big talk, right?
Yeah, me and Scott, my co-creator, we're doing a big sort of interactive presentation starting at 12. And then we will be signing books at 1 o'clock.
Ah, okay, awesome. That sounds so good. And how do we get information about you two? Because you're on the show, you get to plug your websites. Where all the other ones, you got to go find them tomorrow to figure that out. But Raina, where are you at?
My social media, my website, everything, it's Go Raina. So GORAINA.com on Instagram, on Blue Sky. And also, you can go down to the robotics or the Alaska Robotics Gallery and store, and they will have my books and Lucy's books on the shelves.
I love that. I love the Go Raina. Like, that's just such a great thing.
Yeah.
And on your website, I know, and you both have this great on your website, name pronunciations for your last names, which are awesome. And also, you have an interesting story about how your name is spelled R-A-I-N-A. I'll make people go to your GoRaina.com to find that story out. And you have a silent K in your name.
That's right.
Lucy. But what is your website?
My website can be found at my name, Lucy, L-U-C-Y, Knisley, Knisley.com. If that is too hard to spell, you can also go to stoppayingattention.com, which will take you to my website. Again, it's my name on Blue Sky. That's where I'm most active. And you can find comics and links to my books. But again, if you go to the Alaska Robotics store, they have my books in stock there.
Absolutely. That's so fun. Well, thank you so much for coming and taking a little bit of time to tell us about Mini-Con. You can find out more at minicon.alaskarobotics.com. Go down, visit the store, say hi to Pat, and stop by tomorrow at the State Museum over at Mini-Con. It's free to get in, and you can meet all these wonderful artists, and there's book signings and presentations and talks and all kinds of stuff. The full schedule is over there at minicon.alaskarobotics.com. Thank you so much. Good to cheese for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Okay, up next, we are going to listen to the launch of this season's Curious Juneau. This episode is all about where does that North Douglas chocolate cake come from?
People love this cake.
That's Abigail Sweetman, a Juneau resident from Ketchikan who spends nearly all of her free time coming up with new recipes in her Star Hill apartment.
I'm a huge sugar person, and I grew up making a lot of desserts because, it was something I liked. It was something that I couldn't really get much of in Ketchikan. Most of my love of food came from like baking at a young age.
She wrote into KTOO to ask about the origin of said cake, the North Douglas chocolate cake. And while I started looking around for the people who named it, Sweetman gathered ingredients to make it.
And it has butter and oil, which is pretty decadent. She says to combine basically like most of the wet ingredients in the cocoa and bring it to a boil.
The recipe is in the Fiddlehead Cookbook. The cookbook, which is older than Sweetman, is based on a restaurant that operated in Juneau for nearly 30 years. It closed 2 decades ago, but the cookbook and the North Douglas chocolate cake has lived on.
Like, it was a cake that I had in childhood and didn't realize that it's a cake that I had, and I'm like, oh, like, I didn't realize that they named a cake after North Douglas, and I was like, there's got to be a story there.
And there is a story there. As the cake bakes in Sweetman's oven, we'll hear from the woman who introduced it to Juneau. The story's rather simple, actually, according to Linda Zagar. She's the baker the cookbook credits with bringing it to the Fiddlehead restaurant.
My best friend's mom made this cake, and it was called Choco Bake. It has a real name. It's a real recipe. I did not create the recipe. That's what I always tell people. I just brought it.
Zagar moved to Alaska with that same best friend in the 1970s and followed her now husband to Juneau. They've lived in North Douglas for decades. Zagar worked at the Fiddlehead restaurant for several years and worked in just about every role there, waiting tables, washing dishes, prep cooking, before she became the morning baker. She said a lot of staff would bring in favorite recipes they had accumulated over the years.
For some reason, this one stuck.
She added a couple of twists. She made it a layer cake with more frosting and added walnuts around the edge, though the nuts didn't make it into the cookbook. And Zagar says she loves chocolate, so instead of plain cocoa powder, she used dark. The name, however, was a savvy act of branding.
And my boss at the time said, well, what's the name? And I said, Choco Bake. And he goes, no. He goes, you're the North Douglas baker. Let's call it the North Douglas chocolate cake. And I think that's half of it. It has a cool name. But then it just became a thing.
Nancy DeCherney was part of the Fiddlehead restaurant, too, as a cook and manager.
All of us were getting out of college, and there was money up here. And so we had the blessing of having a staff that was highly educated and full of, it was the 70s. Everybody was full of exciting ideas.
DeCherney remembers what it was like to walk into the Fiddlehead. She describes dark wood furniture and ferns, a smoking and non-smoking section. She wrote the Fiddlehead cookbook in the 1990s and says she loves hearing people talk about their favorite recipes from the cookbook now. She's glad it's lived on.
And, I think partly it's not real difficult food. It's accessible. Some of it is a little unusual, but I think the average bear can cook it, Yeah. And it'll turn out okay.
Back in her apartment, Sweetman pulls the cake out of the oven.
Moving a cake is risky.
And she starts to assemble it.
I always want layer cakes to turn out a little better than they do. And then I usually get to the end of it and I'm like, it's more important to me that this tastes good.
For the record, it also looks good, with some extra decoration that's not in the cookbook. Edible eyeballs.
I'm also anticipating that you should take some home because I'm kind of always overrun with dessert.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm willing to help with that. And Zagar says it's always better on the second day. In Juneau, I'm Yvonne Cremery.
That was Curious Juneau. For more, you can go to kto.org/curious. You're listening to community-supported Juneau Afternoon on KTOO at 104.3 Juneau, 91.7 Juneau Auk Bay, and online at ktoo.org. I'm your host, Boston Christopher. You can also join us behind the scenes for a sneak peek into the studio on KTOO's YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Artemis Sportswomen is a project of the National Wildlife Federation that aims to create a diverse and inclusive community for women hunters, anglers, and conservationists throughout the country. And they are about to kick off a bevy of events for the summer. And joining me now to chat about it and what's coming up is Stevie Gawryluk. Oh, good. Did I say it right? Okay, good. And then also I have Jamie Martel.
Yes.
Gwyneth Cheesh for being here today. It's such a pleasure to have you both in the studio. Wasiti, how's it going, Stevie?
It's going really well. How are you today, Boston?
I'm good. I think you were in here last summer. I think we talked about this last year, too, a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Maybe it was the year before. I don't know.
Oh, might have been the year.
Time flies.
It does. That silly pandemic ruined everything. And Jamie, it's really nice to see you. Wasiti.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here.
Okay, so I kind of gave an overview of what Artemis Sportswomen is, but is there anything we want to expand on that in terms of what how the Juneau chapter of that works?
Yeah. I'll take it, if that's okay. So we're really fortunate here to have a really strong Artemis community and presence. We host events throughout the year to empower women to get out in the field, get on the water, and use their voices to speak up for the wildlife, the fish, and the land that they love. So we host quite a few advocacy events as well as skill-based events.
Okay, and how long have you been part of the group?
Oh, I've been part of Artemis now, I think almost 5 years. I'm technically in my third term. So as an ambassador, we have 2-year terms, and we can do what we want with that. There's different ways that we can represent the organization, and we can support women in our area. So
nice.
It's awesome. It's a really great
cool.
way.
And have you always been into sort of those kinds of things that the Artemis Sportswomen do, like in terms of hunting and angling and all that? Yeah.
So it's interesting. I grew up in a family of hunters. And as a child, I would go out with my brothers and my dad and my uncles and my cousins, but nobody actually ever invited me to be the hunter or the angler. So I kind of was a tag along. And as an adult, I wanted to be more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago, I started exploring hunting. I had started fishing prior to that, but started exploring hunting and really fell in love with it and wanted to provide the resources I didn't have to other women that are looking to hunt and fish.
So awesome. And Jamie, what about you? How did you get started with the Artemis Sportswomen?
I got started about 2.5 years ago. I found it online through social media, through the kickoff event. So I guess it was for 2023. So I joined the kickoff event and met just a wonderful group of women who were like-minded, and just started following them. And then just shortly after that, the new they were recruiting for the new cohort, and so I applied for the ambassadorship and got it. So this is now my second term, I guess.
Awesome.
Going into it.
And have you always been in terms of like outdoorsy and stuff as well?
No. I did not grow up hunting or fishing. I came into it as an adult, just out of curiosity. And I met my now husband, and he was a avid hunter and fisherman, and I asked him to teach me.
And you got hooked.
He knows.
As they say, you got hooked.
Yep.
All right, that's so cool. Let's talk about these events you have coming up, because I know there's a bunch of stuff happening. So where do we want to start?
Yeah, I'll let Jamie talk about our first event. So just so everyone knows, these are just the first few events that we have planned for this summer. We'll have more. But yeah, Jamie, take it away with the first event.
Okay, so our first event is on next week already, Wednesday the 21st, and it is our Refuge Walk and Advocacy Talk. So last year we started this series based on getting people out onto the Mendenhall wetlands and getting them engaged in activities and educating them and introducing them to what they can do on the wetlands. So we titled it Fins and Feathers series, the Fins and Feathers Mendenhall Wetlands series. So all of those events geared towards learning about tides and learning about fishing and waterfowl and everything refuge based. So this one is getting people out on the refuge, just stepping foot, learning a different access point, because access to the refuge is huge and a lot of people don't know all the different access points. So we try to introduce them to try to hit most of them, and just getting them out there doing what we do as sportswomen, waterfowl watching, wildlife watching, walking our dogs. So this is just a space to gather and then talk about how important it is to use our voices to protect this habitat and our opportunities to use it.
I love that. And that's next Wednesday.
Yep, Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
The 21st at 6 o'clock. Okay, and next?
Yeah, so the following event will be a women's fish regulation workshop. Regulations are really intimidating. They're always changing. Where do you find the regs? And we have a wonderful friend with Fish and Game named Carly. She's a biologist. She works in the sport fishing area, doing community engagement. And so she's going to come and take us in a deep dive of fishing regulations to help people understand how regulations are made, how to follow the regulations so that they can land their next fish legally.
Yeah.
And we had that last year and it was a great hit. And so we're excited to bring it back this year.
Awesome.
And that's on May 29th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then our next event after that is on June 10th. It's a tackle talk and fishing social. So Jamie and I will talk about gear and where to fish and tackle, how to be safe out there, shore fishing, and then gals will have an opportunity to fish afterward if they would like. That event we hosted 2 years ago, and quite a few people have asked for it again. So we're going to get folks out there just to feel a little bit more confident.
Absolutely. And like you said, this is just the beginning.
Yes.
Right? This is just the beginning. And where's the best place for those who might be interested in either joining and or going to these events? Where do they find information at?
Yeah, so they can go to our national website, artemis.nwf.org, or you can find us on Facebook, Artemis Sportswomen, Alaska. Either of those are going to be great ways to just get engaged with us, and you can always reach out to Jamie or myself directly, and we'd be happy to fill folks in and bring you into our community, our sisterhood, as we like to call it.
The sisterhood, yeah, that's so fun. It's such a great group of people to be getting together and doing these wonderful. I love that it's not just hunting and fishing, but also sort of wildlife watching out at the refuge. That's really kind of cool. Learning about the rules and those are, because they can get crazy, right?
Yeah.
Those regulations.
Yeah,
in terms
absolutely.
of what's happening. The last thing you want to do is get arrested.
Yeah. I mean, the fines, like, it's scary if you get a fine if you had your
I guess
gear.
you're not going to get arrested. You're really going to get a
well,
fine.
I mean, hopefully not. There are definitely ways.
Yeah.
But, no, you can definitely get your gear confiscated. You can get fines. You could have your license taken away. So we want people to go out there feeling like they know what they can do and where they can do it.
Awesome. Well, Jamie, Stevie, thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it. Again, you can go to artemis.nwf.org or on Facebook, Artemis Alaska, or just search for Artemis Sportswomen Alaska, and you'll find their Facebook page. And it's just the beginning of the summer activities. So come back and visit us again when you have more going on later in the summer.
Great. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Good. Cheesh. And that's going to do it for today's Juneau Afternoon. Juneau Afternoon airs Wednesday through Friday at 3 p.m. right here on KTOO Juneau 104.3 and KAUK Juneau Akbe 91.7. You can find the show online at ktoo.org/Juneau Afternoon. Our theme music is by Indian Agent. Programming support for Juneau Afternoon comes from listeners and viewers like you and Alaska Airlines, Club 49, Hanson Gress, and Heritage Coffee Roasting Company. Gonna cheese. Have a good weekend, everybody.